Here's a look at your daily market report on this Wednesday, the 26th day of November. Many of the cattle futures sharply higher at midday. They've bounced off limit higher moves at points this morning. That's following news of comments made by Secretary Brooke Rollins yesterday on the Lonesome Lands podcast with Jim Mundorf and Chad Sullivan, as they nailed down some answers to some questions that many in the industry have been wondering and speculating about. Still no confirmed date on the opening of the Mexican border for feeder cattle, but Brooke did say it wasn't a matter of if, but when. However, they're still a ways away from being ready to do that. And she did also say that once that border opens, it will not be a flood of cattle. It will be much like the plan that had been in place earlier, where they open up the border slowly in phases and likely starting off in Arizona or New Mexico. At the auction barns around the state today, not a whole lot happening prior to the Thanksgiving Day holiday. About the only feeder sale going on today, Springfield Livestock Marketing Center. On Friday, Green City Livestock Auction will have their second of two special sales this Thanksgiving week. They had their yearling special yesterday, and we'll talk about that here shortly. On Friday, they'll hold the second half of that sale, which will be a calf special. We also have a special cow sale that will take place Friday evening at Tina Livestock Market. And then on Saturday, Eastern Missouri Commission Company will have a special cow sale this week. On Tuesday, Ozarks Regional Stockyards had their weekly feeder cattle auction, 1,286 head. Compared to last week, steers and heifers there, $5 to $10 lower on the yearlings. The calves, $10 to $20 lower. Another 212 head sold over their weekly video auction. Unionville Livestock Auction, they had a sale on Tuesday, 2,172 head. The market there was called $20 to $25 lower than the last sale, which was a couple weeks ago. Then Green City Livestock Auction, they held their yearling special. Mostly all the cattle were sold in full pot loads, and of course they had all the bells and whistles that any buyer could want. Compared to 3 weeks ago, those steers and heifers still sold $10 to $20 lower because of the downturn in the market in general. 2,254 head of yearlings, the steers, medium and large ones. 6.5 to 7 weights at $345 to $348. 7 to 8 weights at $330.50 to $350. 8 to 9 weights at $315 to $329.75. 900 to 925 pound steers at $305 to $317.50. Heifers, medium and large ones, 5.5 to 6 weights at $332.5 to $354.50. 6 to 7 weights at $326.5 to $350. Some 7 to 750 pound heifers at $323 to $327.50. Box beef cutout values at midday. Choice down $1.45 at $368.64. Select up $2.55 at $358.48. Those values based on 115 loads of cuts, trimmings, and grinds. The Choice Select spreads narrowed down to $10.18 now. Taking a look at the negotiated feedlot trade so far this week. Of course, both buyers and sellers there would like to get business done so they can get home for the holidays and hopefully eat a little beef as opposed to turkey, but not have to worry about doing any more business. 43,462 head of confirmed negotiated sales so far. Texas has turned in 2,661 head. All at $215 live. That's $9 lower than a week ago. Kansas has only turned in 172 head so far for the week, all at $215 live. Iowa's turned in 11,702 head. Live sales $208 to $212. That's $7 to $8 lower than a week ago. Dress sales at $328 to $330, which is $12 to $17 lower. In Nebraska, 22,751 head of confirmed negotiated sales. Live sales have been $8 lower than a week ago at $208 to $212. Dress sales $10 to $15 lower, all at $330. Taking a look at those futures markets at midday, live cattle, December up 442 at 211.42, February 213.35 up 602, and April at 214.87 up 630. January feeder cattle 315.20 up 8.12, March at 309.52 up 8.65, and April 308.32 up 8.32. Lean hogs for December 79.67 up $1.22, February 80.77 up 1.77, and April 84.87 up 1.92. Taking a look at the Board of Trade, all the grains at midday in the green as well. December corn up 6 1/4, 4.29 3/4. March up 7, 4.45 1/4. May at 4.53 1/2, up 6 3/4. Soybeans for January 11.33 1/4, up 8 1/2. March 11.42 up 7 1/4, and May 11.51 3/4, up 6 3/4. Wheat contracts, December up 5 1/2, 5.32 3/4. March up 4 1/2 at 5.43 3/4. May at 5.52 up 4 1/2. December bean meal up 60 cents a ton, 317.60. Bean oil for December up 41 cents a hundredweight at 50.71. With the Missouri Department of Agriculture, that's your daily market report for Wednesday. We'll be taking off Thursday and Friday, so we will talk to you again for this report next Monday. With the Missouri Department of Agriculture, this is Tony Hancock.